Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. Today's video is titled, What She Thinks When You Don't Chase Her. If you've ever felt pressured to prove yourself to a woman, to text first, to validate her constantly, to chase her like your worth depended on it, this is for you. We're going to break down what really happens in her mind when you choose not to chase. We'll explore timeless psychological truths, powerful historical love stories, and hard-earned lessons about masculine presence that modern culture ignores. You'll learn how self-control, emotional intelligence, and authentic confidence change the entire dynamic, not just with women, but with life itself. If you're tired of mind games, want genuine respect, and want to embody the man you were meant to be, stay until the end. Because here at the Stoic Golden Tribe, we don't just talk about seduction tricks, we forge men of substance. We'll do this in 4 powerful chapters, each designed to give you real knowledge you can use right now. So settle in, get ready to take notes, and before we begin, hit like if you're ready to change your mindset. Subscribe if you want more wisdom about love, power, and emotional mastery. And comment below at any time. Share your thoughts, your questions, or your own experiences. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Power of Restraint. Why Not Chasing Creates Desire. Men today are conditioned to think, if you don't chase her, she'll lose interest. But the truth, ignored in the modern dating market, is that restraint breeds intrigue, respect, and genuine attraction. At its core, not chasing is not about playing cold games. It's about self-possession, proving that your time, energy, and attention are valuable. Let's take this deeper. Consider Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor of Rome. Though he had immense power, he was famous for his discipline and emotional composure. Letters reveal he didn't fawn over his wife, Faustina, despite her beauty and noble lineage. He valued duty, presence, and purpose above flattery. Their marriage was respected in Roman society because of this balance. Marcus was devoted but not needy. He loved her deeply, but he never sacrificed his dignity. He knew that true connection comes not from desperation but from strength. That's lesson 1. Women are drawn to men who don't need them for validation. When you don't chase frantically, you communicate that you have options, purpose, and boundaries. She doesn't think he's mean or he doesn't care. Instead, she thinks, why isn't he trying so hard? What is he focused on? Why is he so confident in letting me come to him? Curiosity is ignited. Desire grows in that space. Emotional intelligence in relationships means understanding not just what you want, but what she feels. Many men think constant pursuit is romantic, but too often it's perceived as pressure, insecurity, lack of self-control. Instead, letting her choose you back is empowering for both of you. Women want agency. They want to feel they chose a man worth their time, not that he forced himself upon them through constant attention. When you're not chasing, you're saying, I respect you enough to give you the choice. This is advanced emotional intelligence. Most men never learn it because society teaches them to buy love with effort and sacrifice instead of earning it with character and presence. Let's look at one of history's most tragic yet illuminating romances, Abelard and Heloise in 12th century France. Abelard was a philosopher, Heloise his brilliant student. Their affair burned intensely, but notice what drew Heloise in. Abelard's towering intellect, his mastery of words, his purpose. He wasn't a simpering suitor. He didn't chase her in the modern, approval-seeking sense. Instead, he drew her in with his focus, his mission, and his refusal to reduce himself to a beggar for affection. Their story ended in tragedy due to external pressures, but even in their letters decades later, Heloise's attraction and respect never died. She wrote, God knows I never sought anything in you except yourself. I wanted simply you, nothing of yours. She wasn't in love with a man who chased. She loved a man with a self. Today, most men sabotage attraction by over-pursuing. They flood her phone. They rearrange their lives instantly for her. They show zero challenge or boundaries. Why? because they think it's the only way to keep her interest, but paradoxically, it's the fastest way to kill it. When you don't chase, you demonstrate self-control. You show she must qualify herself to you. You maintain your frame and identity. This isn't playing hard to get like a game. It's living your purpose so fully that you don't have time to beg. It's saying, I'm willing to walk away rather than betray my dignity. Now here's the subtle art. Not chasing doesn't mean being cold, rude, or dismissive. A Stoic man knows how to be warm when present, be clear in his intentions, avoid neediness, hold space for her emotions without losing himself. She's not attracted to stone walls. She's attracted to men who can be open without being needy, available without being desperate. If you're too cold, she'll see you as emotionally unavailable. If you're too eager, she'll see you as weak. Balance is the key. That balance is the heart of emotional intelligence in love. Think about the man she remembers years later. It's rarely the one who showered her with 50 texts in a weekend. It's the one who could walk away if disrespected, the one who had purpose, the one who didn't make her his entire world. Men who don't chase give women something to respect. They create the possibility for genuine desire, which only exists when she feels she's chosen you freely. In feudal Japan, the samurai were trained to master their impulses. They were warriors, but also poets and scholars. A samurai was taught, win without drawing your sword. She wonders why you don't chase because it's so rare. It breaks the pattern of men who act like supplicants. It demands her attention and her respect. Not chasing is not rejection, it's an invitation for her to choose you. Emotional intelligence means knowing when to lean in and when to lean back. Historical wisdom proves the man who masters himself commands respect. Comment below. I attract, not chase, if you're ready to embody this power. Chapter 2, The Psychology of Absence, How Space Triggers. Emotional investment. Most men never understand this fundamental truth. Absence creates value. It is one of the oldest, most reliable psychological principles in human behavior. When you don't chase her, when you give her space, you're not making her forget you. You're forcing her to think about you. This is not manipulation, it's simply human nature. In medieval Europe, knights and nobles developed an entire philosophy around courtly love. It wasn't about smothering the woman with constant attention, it was about proving worth through restraint, patience, and honor. A knight would pledge service to a lady, but he wouldn't grovel at her feet daily. He demonstrated devotion by living virtuously, by building his reputation, by mastering his craft and courage. He'd send letters and tokens sparingly, with weight and meaning. And the lady, she would wait, test, and wonder, does he truly care? Is he worthy? What will he do next? This anticipation is the seed of longing. When you don't chase her today, you're not ghosting her. You're creating the same timeless tension that made courtly love so intoxicating. Humans value what is scarce. If you make yourself too available, your attention becomes cheap. She doesn't have to think about you because you're always there, waiting, offering, but when you're selective, your time becomes precious. Behavioral economics calls this the scarcity effect. Items perceived as scarce are seen as more valuable. This isn't cynical, it's simply how our brains work. When you're not chasing, your attention has weight. When you're not always available, you become memorable. When you're not desperate, you show self-worth. Consider Napoleon Bonaparte and Josephine de Beauharnais. Napoleon was obsessed with Josephine early in their relationship. He wrote feverish letters chasing her attention even while commanding armies. Josephine, older and more socially savvy, responded coldly at times. But as Napoleon matured, he learned restraint. He shifted from desperate pursuit to focused dominance, not just in war, but in romance. Josephine realized she might lose him to other women, to his ambition, to his destiny. Her letters became warmer, more vulnerable. By becoming scarce, Napoleon flipped the dynamic. Men today forget this lesson. They think loving someone means always being available, always showing up uninvited, always texting back immediately. But true respect and longing only emerge when space exists. Emotional intelligence is not just knowing what to say. It's knowing when to say nothing. Silence can be powerful in romance. When you don't chase, she has room to reflect on your value. She wonders what you're doing. She's forced to sit with her own feelings. Many men fear silence. They rush to fill it with validation. They can't stand the discomfort of not knowing what she thinks, but in reality, silence is where attraction grows. If you're always explaining, always reassuring, always proving yourself, you destroy the mystery and the tension that spark desire. A man secure in himself doesn't fear silence. He knows his worth is evident without constant performance. The Spartans were known not only for their military discipline, but also for their emotional austerity. A Spartan's word was scarce. Their famous laconic style meant they spoke rarely, but with impact. This wasn't accidental. It was a deliberate show of power. When you speak less, people lean in. When you're not rushing to prove yourself, people respect you more. In relationships, the same holds true. When you don't chase, you create space for her to invest. You don't flood the connection with cheap words. You make your attention valuable, like gold weighed carefully on scales. Consider a man deeply focused on his mission, his business, his craft, his training. He doesn't ignore women, but he doesn't rearrange his entire life at the first sign of interest. He invites them into his world on his terms. When she texts, he doesn't drop everything. When she tests him with silence or delay, he doesn't panic. Instead, he holds frame. What happens in her mind? She wonders what he's doing. She questions whether she's good enough. She invests emotionally. In love, this means creating attraction without begging, without chasing, without losing your center. Men who don't chase signal abundance. They communicate, I have options, I have purpose, I have value. This isn't about playing games. It's about living a life so compelling that a woman feels lucky to be part of it. Emotional intelligence in love also means detachment. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're not dependent on the outcome. When you don't chase, you reveal you're okay with whatever happens. You show that her interest is a bonus, not your salvation. You prove you can walk away if she disrespects your standards. This is the ultimate frame. I want you, but I don't need you. Cyrus the Great was known for his wisdom in negotiation and alliance. He didn't beg weaker kingdoms to join him. He offered them terms that were fair but firm. If they refused, he moved on confidently. Ironically, this made many leaders voluntarily align with him. Cyrus knew desperation invites rejection. Confidence attracts loyalty. In love, the lesson is the same. When you don't chase, you're not closing the door. You're opening the possibility that she chooses you freely. Space is not neglect, it's an invitation to invest. Scarcity creates value. Silence is powerful. Emotional intelligence means mastering timing and restraint. Historical men understood this art. Modern men must relearn it. Comment below. My space creates value if you're ready to master this principle. Chapter 3. Boundaries, standards, and the magnetic pull of self-respect. Men often mistake not chasing for apathy. They think, if I don't pursue her aggressively, she'll think I don't care. But the truth is this: women don't want a man who doesn't care. They want a man who cares about himself enough to set standards. Not chasing is ultimately about boundaries and self-respect. It's the difference between being available and being cheap. In ancient Rome, dignitas was the sum of a man's personal reputation, honor, and moral authority. It wasn't about arrogance, it was about self-command. A Roman senator didn't grovel for alliances, he set terms that reflected his worth. He was known for gravitas, seriousness, self-control, and integrity. Women in Roman society, too, responded to this kind of masculine presence. They knew that a man with dignitas couldn't be manipulated. He couldn't be pulled off purpose by flattery or lust. This historical truth applies today. A man with boundaries is respected. A man without boundaries is used. Humans instinctively value what they work for. If you do 100% of the chasing, she does 0% of the choosing. Psychologists call this the investment principle. We value what we invest in. When you stop chasing, you give her the space to invest, you let her prove herself, you balance the dynamic. Too many men try to earn love by overgiving. They smother her with validation, gifts, attention. But without her investing emotionally, these gestures feel hollow and even cheap. When you hold back, you let her curiosity grow. You let her work to understand you, you let her choose you. That choice is the foundation of real, lasting attraction. Cleopatra. The 7th of Egypt understood the art of boundaries and standards better than almost anyone in history. When Mark Antony, Rome's great general, demanded her presence, she didn't rush, she prepared a spectacle. She arrived on her barge, dressed as Venus herself. Cleopatra didn't chase, she summoned. She set the terms of their meeting. Mark Antony was so captivated by her poise, her standards, her refusal to act like a common supplicant, that he fell completely under her spell. Was Cleopatra cold? She was strategic, powerful, feminine, and commanding. She made Antony work for her attention, she demanded his respect, and even when they became lovers, she maintained her position as his equal, not his servant. For modern men, the lesson is clear. Checkmark. Attraction thrives on standards. Don't sell yourself cheap. Make her invest in you as you invest in her. Boundaries aren't walls, they're doors with locks. You decide who enters and on what terms. Emotionally intelligent men can say no kindly, firmly, without drama. No to disrespect. No to last-minute plans that undermine your schedule. No to tests meant to weaken your frame. When you don't chase blindly, you naturally develop these boundaries. You're not so desperate for her affection that you'll tolerate anything. You communicate that your time and energy have value. And guess what? Women test men precisely to find these boundaries. It's not malicious, it's biological. They want to know if you're strong enough to lead, to protect, to stay true to yourself. Fail that test and you lose her respect. Pass it and you deepen her attraction. Knights in medieval Europe weren't just warriors, they were bound by chivalry, a code that included honor, loyalty, courage, courtesy. But chivalry wasn't servility. A knight didn't bow to everyone. He served his lady, but on his terms. He protected her, but didn't abase himself. Chivalry demanded strength, integrity, and self-respect. Today, men think being nice means saying yes to everything. But genuine chivalry means knowing your mission and values and refusing to compromise them to win approval. Women can feel that difference instantly. They know when you're being agreeable to manipulate them versus when you're genuinely strong and kind. Picture two men. Man A responds instantly to every text, cancels plans with friends at her whim, spends money he doesn't have to impress her, never says no. Man B responds on his own time with intention, values his commitments and communicates clearly, invests in experiences he can genuinely afford, politely declines when something doesn't align with his priorities. Who do you think she respects more? It's not about being mean, it's about being clear. It's about showing you value yourself. One of the most powerful traits a man can develop is non-reactivity. Women may test you, they may pull away to see how you respond. They may throw emotional challenges your way. A man who chases immediately panics. Why is she distant? Did I do something wrong? I'll fix it right now. He loses his center, but a man with emotional intelligence remains calm. He doesn't react impulsively. He doesn't chase to relieve his anxiety. He gives her the space to feel her emotions. He trusts her to come back on her own. He maintains his boundaries without anger or pleading. That calm, grounded energy is magnetic. Sun Tzu in The Art of War writes, "Appear at points which the enemy must hasten to defend. March swiftly to places where you are not expected." Translated to romance, don't telegraph neediness. Don't move exactly as she expects. Don't give away all your power by chasing. Instead, maintain your position. Let her come to you. Make her curious. Make her invest. This doesn't mean manipulation. It means strategy born from self-respect. Boundaries are essential for respect. Standards make your attention valuable. Saying no is an act of self-love. Non-reactivity is a sign of emotional mastery. Throughout history, the men who commanded love were the men who commanded themselves. Comment below. My boundaries build respect. if you're ready to hold your frame and set your standards. Chapter 4: Building the Man She Wants to Chase: Mastery, Purpose, and Magnetic Presence. Let's be clear, when you stop chasing her, you don't wait idly, you build. Many men mistake not chasing for ignoring her, sulking, or playing games. But real masculine strength is not passivity, it's purpose. When you stop chasing her, you chase your mission. You become the man who doesn't need to seek validation. You attract it. You become the man she wants to chase. Alexander the Great didn't waste his youth begging for affection. He conquered the known world. His singular purpose made him magnetic to allies, followers, and lovers. He didn't beg women to stay. He built empires and led armies. Women don't want to be your purpose. They want to join you on your purpose. Make her the center of your universe, and you lose polarity. Make your mission the center, and you create gravitational pull. Modern psychology confirms this truth: self-determination. Theory says humans thrive with autonomy, competence, relatedness. When you chase endlessly, you sacrifice autonomy and show no competence beyond seeking approval. But when you invest in mastery, your career, health, mindset, you radiate autonomy and competence. That's deeply attractive. It says, I don't need you, I choose you. Consider Shah Jahan, the Mughal emperor, who built the Taj Mahal for Mumtaz Mahal. He wasn't a desperate lover. He ruled a vast empire, commanded armies, and built wonders. Mumtaz Mahal wasn't drawn to him because he chased her like a boy. She respected him as a leader and visionary. Even his ultimate act of love, the Taj Mahal, wasn't desperate pursuit. It was mastery transformed into beauty. Women still crave this: a man with vision, a man who can build, a man whose world she wants to join. Most men chase because they fear losing her, being alone, or feeling inadequate. That's neediness in disguise. A man of purpose embraces solitude when needed. He doesn't require constant validation. He understands love is a gift, not something to buy or beg for. When you stop chasing, you give her space to experience your calm, your security, your grounded, unshakable presence. You're no longer negotiating from fear. You're inviting her into strength. Samurai weren't powerful because of blind aggression, but because of restraint. They lived by Bushido, loyalty, honor, courage, self-control. They trained their bodies and minds to mastery. When you don't chase impulsively, you're not cold, you're disciplined. You don't react to every test. You stay true to your mission. You lead with self-control. Women trust and respect this energy. Picture a man building his business or career. He doesn't send 20 needy texts a day. He doesn't abandon his goals for her moods. He communicates clearly but prioritizes what matters. If she adds joy and value, he includes her in his life. If she leaves, he's sad but not broken. He returns to his mission. He knows abundance will bring new opportunities. That's not indifference. It's the abundance mindset. Scarcity says, she's the only one who'll want me. I'll do anything to keep her. Abundance says, I am valuable. I have options. I won't force anything. When you stop chasing, you embody abundance. You trust she'll choose you if you're aligned. You accept it if she doesn't. You don't compromise your values to buy affection. This is emotional maturity, and it's powerfully attractive. Marcus Aurelius loved his wife, Faustina, but didn't beg for affection. He led with wisdom, governed with calm, and accepted what he couldn't control. Stoicism teaches, control what you can, accept what you can't. Never sacrifice principles for fleeting comfort. When you stop chasing, you live this wisdom. You let love grow organically without corruption from desperation. Don't just stop chasing her. Chase your mission. Build a life so strong and compelling, she wants to be part of it. Value solitude, mastery, and purpose. Offer love freely, but never from fear or need. Become the man whose presence is irresistible because it is built on unshakable strength. Comment below, my mission attracts her. If you're ready to build the life that draws her in naturally.